Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, and it's time to look ahead to Week 5 and make some win-loss picks for every game. Before we do that, as always, I take a look at last week's calls and see where I was right, see where I was wrong, and I did pretty well. 11-3 so far. We do have 2 more games tonight on Monday. The Dolphins I did pick to win, along with the Seahawks over the Lions. I did update these picks on Saturday after I got all the injury news. I did change 3 games, so it looks a little bit different than it did a week ago, but I was right. The 2 games that have taken place I switched were the Falcons winning and the Texans winning, and that was correct, although they were both pretty close. The Falcons won on a last-second field goal. The Texans almost lost that game. If it was not for a goal line stand by the defense, the Jags actually would have scored 27 and might have won that game. But that did not happen. The Texans won, and I went 11-3. The games I got right were the Cowboys winning, the Falcons winning, the Bears winning, the Vikings winning, the Bucs winning, the Bengals winning, the Texans, the Niners, the Raiders, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. Baltimore won on Sunday night. So all of those were the 11 games I got correct. The 3 games I got wrong were Pittsburgh versus Indianapolis. Shockingly, the Colts won, but they did win last year on the back of the run game. It kind of happened again, and it's kind of a weird situation where if they do pivot to the backup, you almost feel more confident with Joe Flacco running the Colts than you do with Richardson. There's at least fewer mistakes to be made with the experienced Joe Flacco, so that helped them. It worked out. They did beat Pittsburgh. The Jets, though, lost to Denver, and Sean Payton on the road is not someone to underestimate. So big loss for New York, and they made some mistakes. It wasn't just the weather. It was on them. But the Cardinals did lose. Washington looks fantastic, and Jaden Daniels is not someone I'm going to be underestimating moving forward. Arizona did miss Trey McBride, though. Michael Wilson did not step up. So those are the 3 games I got wrong. We'll see if I go 11-5 or 13-3. I'll probably go 12-4 most likely, but I did pick the Dolphins and the Seahawks to win on Monday. So those are my win-loss picks this week. 11-3, not a bad record, and it did look a lot better than y'all. You guys answered the polls on the community tab on the channel, and you guys went 7-7. Not the best week for you guys. Collectively, you went with the Saints over the Falcons. The Saints lost. You also took Pittsburgh like I did. Pittsburgh lost. You went with the Rams. I went with the Bears. The Rams did lose. The Jets, overwhelming favorites here, did lose. The Eagles also lost. You guys also agreed with me on Arizona. They lost. And then you guys favored Buffalo. The Ravens took care of business. So you guys went 500 this week, 7-7. And we do disagree on the Seahawks. So we'll see what happens. And one of us will have a better record overall. But at the moment, it is tied on the season. The current record is 35-27 to 35-27. I was bad the first 3 weeks. You guys were bad in week 4, and it has evened out. So that's the record so far. I am excited, and I also had a winning week against the spread. So far, I've gone 3-1. I did take the Seahawks to cover the spread, if not win straight up, and they are 4-point underdog. So we'll see about that. I do think I'll go 4-1, but we will find out. So far, my record against the spread is still pretty bad, though. 6-12-1. Let's hopefully go 7-12-1 and get back on track as the weeks go by. So week 4 was a lot better. The first 3 weeks, I was not feeling it, not doing well, and I may be updating these picks on Saturday once I get more injury information. But I like to do this video on Monday. It helps me set my mind, shift focus from last week to the next for the rest of the other videos I have to make. And let's get into it. These are my win-loss picks for week 5. On Thursday night, football, another divisional game, this time between Tampa and the Falcons. And I kind of like these divisional games on Thursday. They're more entertaining most of the time than some terrible matchups we've seen in the past. But I don't feel like great picking this game. I think it'll be a true toss-up. I like what I've seen from Tampa so far, but they can lay an egg. We saw that against Denver, but I don't think they'll underestimate the Falcons like they underestimated the Broncos, a team they rarely face once in 4 years. So I do trust Tampa, a divisional opponent here that they usually beat. They do have a winning record. In recent history, they have owned this matchup more so than not. So I will take them. I think they do win on the road. I still don't love what I'm seeing collectively from the Falcons offense. There's still just a few missing pieces. Bijan wasn't as good as I expected last time around, and Kyle Pitts has still been a non-factor. So I trust Tampa. Their receivers are really good, and their run game has started to get going a little bit more. Bucky Irving is legit. So I will take the Buccaneers. I think their chemistry dating back to last season is still better than what we've seen from the Falcons so far, and I do trust that a little bit more. The Falcons probably win on the road later on in the year, though. So give me the road team here. I'll take Tampa on Thursday night. That's not always the best call, but the last 2 weeks it has worked out. Give me the Bucs over the Falcons. On Sunday morning, though, we get a game in London right when we wake up. The Vikings take on the Jets, and the Vikings are rolling right now. I think they're going to go 5-0 and win this game. I actually picked them to win this game back in the summer. I thought that Sam Darnold would get some revenge here. I just didn't think the Vikings would be undefeated coming into this game. So really impressive from them. They're a complete unit on all sides of the board. They are firing on all cylinders. So love their offense. Their defense is fantastic. And even on special teams, they're not too bad either. The Jets have a lot to clean up. Last week was very discouraging. A game they should have won, they did not. And it's going to be a nightmare here. Having to travel to London, not ideal. And I think Sam Darnold will not be seeing ghosts in this one. If anything, Rodgers might be seeing some ghosts. So I'm definitely taking the Vikings. They are definitely a better team in my opinion, at least at this point in the season. But in Chicago, the Bears host Carolina, and I'm sure the Panthers are upset about that number 1 overall pick that did not work out well. We thought Bryce Young would be playing. He is not. But I do think Caleb Williams plays well here. I don't trust the Panthers defense very much. And the Bears defense at home is a force to be reckoned with. So love Chicago here. I think they will be beating up on bad teams that they face in Chicago. And this is a perfect example of a good win for them. I do think their offense will get rolling. The run game looked solid last week. So Panthers can't really stop the run in general this season. I think Chicago will win once again. In Cincinnati, though, this is a true toss-up. I have a hard time picking it, but I think I'm going to probably take the Ravens over the Bengals. The Bengals are at home, but they've not really looked amazing on offense. There are still some problems, and their defense I don't trust at all. So right now, Derrick Henry is rolling. He's unstoppable, and Lamar Jackson can play at an MVP level any given week. So I'm going to take the Ravens after an 0-2 start. I think they win their 3rd in a row, and the Bengals drop to 1-4. I think the Bengals might be missing the playoffs this season. Not something I would have guessed entering the year, but Bengals, I think, lose it. Mark Andrews got hurt in this game last time. I think he takes on some revenge. I think Andrews will have a good game here and find the end zone. Give me the Ravens over the Bengals. But in New England, the Patriots host the Dolphins, and the quarterback situation is always a little concerning for Miami. But we'll see tonight what Tyler Huntley can do. I think he can keep the offense somewhat afloat, and the fact that Mike McDaniel owns this matchup, I think, is something I'm going to trust in this game. He is 4-0 against New England since entering the division, and that may have just been Belichick, but I don't think Mayo is going to change that record. So give me the Dolphins to go into Foxborough and get the win. I do trust Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and the overall offensive pieces of Miami. I still think the Patriots are a terrible team. So give me the Dolphins here. I definitely want Miami in this pick. In Washington, though, the Commanders take on Cleveland, and I have seen nothing from the Browns to make me encouraged. I have seen a lot from Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, though, to be very excited and trust them to win by a wide margin. I really love their offense. Their defense is getting a little bit better as the weeks go by, and coaching is a big factor. I do trust the quarterback of Washington way more than Deshaun Watson. So give me the Commanders. They look like a force. And honestly, they might win the division this year. They look like a very legit threat to make the playoffs. So Washington definitely is my pick. I am not taking the Browns at all. In Jacksonville, though, an interesting history between these two teams. The Colts cannot win on the road in this matchup. For some reason, Jacksonville just has their number, and maybe we'll see Joe Flacco here. You're probably encouraged. However, Jonathan Taylor is banged up. We might not see Taylor, and that's a huge loss for the Colts offense. We might get Richardson to play in this one as well. So it'll be dicey. I do think it'll be close regardless, but I am going to take Jacksonville. They're pretty desperate, and they did put up a good fight against the Texans. I think it'll be close again, and this time at home it does go in their favor. So give me the Jaguars. It's just history repeating itself here. Usually you can pick pretty confidently against the Colts in Jacksonville, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Jags to get their first win of the year. Colts have looked okay, but not like overwhelmingly convincing that they'll win every game. So I'll take Trevor Lawrence. I think they get their first win of the season. But in Houston, the Texans host the Bills, and originally I would have thought that the Stephon Diggs revenge narrative would have been enough to win. However, the Bills coming off a loss, I think will get it done. Their offense has looked really good this season, and last week was, I think, just a juggernaut against the Ravens. I am not buying into the Bills losing consistently. However, the Texans have not really convinced me that their offense is elite. They should be getting Joe Mixon back, which helps a ton, but without Tank Dell, sometimes there is some question marks to be had, and Dalton Schultz has not stepped up at all. So especially if Mixon doesn't play again, I will definitely take Buffalo. I think it'll be a close one here, but I think the Bills stop Diggs. There is the narrative around him facing his former team, but I think they can shut him down. I think Josh Allen has a lot of motivation to beat him on his new team. Josh Allen does not miss Diggs at all. So love the Bills in this spot. I think they could win in blowout fashion, and after a loss, I think they will definitely bounce back. They will not be losing 2 in a row. Give me Buffalo over the Texans. But in Denver, I definitely want the Broncos here. They've looked really good, 2 impressive road victories, and if they can win while Bo Nix only throws for 60 yards, they got to feel confident moving forward. So love Sean Payton's coaching this season. They've played really well, and their defense is underrated. I think the home field advantage in division is a big difference here. I will take Denver over the Raiders. Even if Devontae Adams and Max Crosby come back, the Raiders have not given me enough trust for me to pick them, and I definitely prefer the Broncos. I think Bo Nix will get better as the season goes on, and I actually picked them to start 4-4 entering the year. I think it is definitely looking to be the case. They are winning consistently. The last 2 games have been impressive. So give me the Broncos here. I do think they win. I will take Denver. In San Francisco, though, I'm going to take the Niners over Arizona. Their offense is okay. They missed McBride last week, but their defense just doesn't have enough, and I don't think the Niners will drop below 500 once again. So definitely taking San Francisco at home. They'll take care of business. Their offense is relatively healthy. They don't have McCaffrey yet, but I don't think it matters. I think they have too many players to stop, and it'll just be like clockwork. They'll score 30 plus just like last week, and it'll be too much to handle. Give me the Niners in division over Arizona. They are the better team. I'll trust Kyle Shanahan. In LA, though, the Rams, I want to give the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just not going to do it against the Packers here. The Packers just lost, and they will bounce back. Jordan Love is not going to go winless in his first 3 games. So I do think the Packers offense will be rolling here. Josh Jacobs has yet to score a touchdown, but his receivers are playing well. And even without Christian Watson, I don't think the Rams secondary has any answers for Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, or Dontavian Wicks. So I'm going to take Jordan Love here. I do think the Packers win. And it is a bit of a coaching rivalry between McVay and LaFleur. And I don't think the Packers lose 2 in a row. So give me Green Bay. It might be close if Cooper Kupp plays, but I just don't think it'll be enough. The Rams defense is not that good. Aside from the defensive line, they just don't really stop anyone in general. So whether it's against the run, against the pass, there's some weaknesses here. I don't trust the Rams. This week, I'm going to take the Packers, a team I think can make the Super Bowl this year. In Seattle, though, we'll see if they go 4-0 after tonight, but I do think they win this game. So they might be 5-0 entering week 6. I do think they'll beat the Giants. The Giants have to travel, and although Malik Neighbors looks fantastic, he's a bit banged up. He probably plays, but Daniel Jones is just not good enough to overcome the detriment of that roster. So don't feel confident in the Giants. Singletary, not good enough. Probably fumbles it again. And the Seahawks defense, I think, is rolling. I think they can definitely beat bad teams comfortably, and the Giants are still not a team I believe in. So give me the Seahawks. I think their offense is rolling, and with Walker back healthy, whether they do or do not beat Detroit tonight, I think they will win in week 5. Give me Seattle at home. The 12s will show up and beat the Giants. In Pittsburgh, though, the Steelers host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and this one is a true toss-up. I feel kind of conflicted with my pick because the Steelers defense is a nightmare, especially at home. They should play well. However, Dallas is kind of desperate. They did fall to 1-2, and they looked okay despite minimal time of possession on Thursday night. They get extra time to prepare, and Rico Dowdle is starting to step up. I think Dak might start slow, but I think he'll finish well, and I am going to take the Cowboys in this game. I do not love what I'm seeing from the Steelers' run game. Justin Fields is important, but can't do it all himself. And without Jalen Warren or Cordell Patterson, I think the Cowboys can't stop Najee. That has been their weakness this season. They have a bad run defense on a per-game basis, but Najee is not up to the caliber of Derrick Henry or Kamara. If anything, he's a little bit closer to Devin Singletary. So I will take Dallas. I think they're a little bit more desperate. It feels a little weird to pick against the Steelers, but they're not a team I predicted to enter the playoffs this year. And I do think last week was a sign to start fading them. I think they will start coming down to earth as their schedule gets more difficult. So give me Dallas. It'll be a close one, but on the road, I think they do step up. They have looked a little bit better on the road this season than at home. Give me Dallas over Pittsburgh. But last game of the week on Monday, we have the Chiefs hosting the Saints. And even though the Chiefs have a lot of injuries on offense, no Pacheco, no Rashee Rice, maybe for several months now, I'm still going to take the Chiefs. I still trust their offense. Kelsey's still there, and he did step up last week. It's Derek Carr on the other side, and they know him very well from his days in Las Vegas. So I'm not going to take the Saints. I think they are on a backslide for sure. And although their offense can sometimes get it together, I just don't think it'll happen. The Chiefs defense is too good. The refs can also nudge it in their favor. So give me the Chiefs. I think they'll go undefeated and still probably lock up the number 1 seed this year, despite the injuries. So those are my picks this week. There are 4 teams on bye. Detroit, Tennessee, Philly, and the Chargers are not playing. But these are the teams I think will win. I'm taking Tampa on the road over the Falcons. I'm taking the Vikings in London over the Jets. Give me the Bears at home over the Panthers. I'll take the Ravens on the road over the Bengals. Dolphins on the road over the Patriots. The Commanders at home over the Browns. The Jaguars at home over the Colts. The Bills on the road over the Texans, the Broncos at home over Las Vegas, the Niners at home over Arizona, the Packers on the road over the Rams, the Seahawks at home over the Giants, the Cowboys on the road over Pittsburgh, and the Chiefs at home over the Saints. Those are my win-loss picks for week 5. But I also give you 5 picks against the spread before I call this video quits. And here they are on the screen. I am definitely taking the Vikings -2.5 over the Jets. I think the line will be increasing, and it's less than 3 points. I think the Vikings could blow them out on Sunday. So give me Sam Darnold in revenge here. I definitely think the Vikings win this game comfortably. The Bills, though, are essentially in a coin flip against the Texans, and I do think they win comfortably. So give me Buffalo. They're not getting points, but I think they can overcome a 1-point margin. The Commanders, though, at home, favored by a field goal, will win by at least a touchdown. I definitely am taking Washington here. I have no faith in the Browns. There is no chance Deshaun Watson comes close to Daniels in this one. Definitely give me the Commanders -3. But I'm going to take the underdog in the Niners game. Getting more than a touchdown is just too appealing, and I haven't seen like everything from the Niners to feel really comfortable. Meanwhile, the Cardinals' offense has been very frisky. They get McBride back, and I think they will keep it close. So you get more than a touchdown here. I'm taking the points. I will take Arizona to cover. They're not going to win, but they will not lose by more than 8. The Cowboys, though, are underdogs, and I think they do win this game straight up. They're getting 2.5 points, and at worst, I like this spot with the points. So I will take the Cowboys. I do think they can win, and I need to pick some more underdogs. Underdogs have been very good this season against the spread. So those are the 5 picks. The Vikings -2.5, the Bills -1, the Commanders -3, and then the Cardinals +7.5, the Cowboys +2.5. Those are my picks for week 5. I may update these on Saturday depending on some injury news, but for the most part, I feel pretty solid about it at the moment. I may not make any pivots this week. So that's it for this video. If you want to let me know what you think, answer the polls on my channel page on the community tab. You will find every game for week 5. You can answer it and sway the polls in your favor. But that's it for me in this video. My name is Adam Riancho, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Nice and blunt.